Bob Newhart really hated him more than anyone else. Bob Newhart was born Robert Newton Newhart on September 5, 1929 in Oak Park, Illinois. He grew up in a regular family home, went to Loyola University in Chicago, where he got a degree in economics, and first tried to work as an accountant. But even while working with money, Newhart's had his special way of doing one-side phone calls and pretend conversations, letting the crowd fill in the missing parts. This was totally new at the time. The album reached the top of the Billboard charts, became the first comedy album to reach #1, and won him the 1961 Grammy Award for Best Comedy Album. This success not only made Newhart famous in the comedy world, but also changed the way comedy albums were made on Donny. People loved his jokes because they were easy to understand and came from the normal worries and silly things of everyday life, a smart change from the physical or real-like crazy comedy that was popular back then. In the mid-1960s, Bob Newhart moved easily into television, starring in The Bob Newhart Show, which was on TV from 1972 to 1978. On this show, he played Dr. Robert Hartley, a Chicago doctor who helps people with their feelings, dealing with the weird and strange things about his patients, his co-workers, and his family life. The show became a huge hit, loved not just for its jokes, but also for its real way of showing how people get along, the details of work life, and the awkward parts of human relationships. Newhart's straight-faced reactions and calm style became what the show was known for, getting him praise from critics and several Emmy nominations. The success of the show showed his special ability to mix jokes with caring, playing characters who were not just funny, but deeply easy to relate to and understanding. Beyond the Bob Newhart Show, Newhart's career lasted decades and included amazing variety. In the 1990s, he came back to television with Newhart, a show that made his reputation even stronger as a master of situation comedy. In this show, he played Dick Leadon, an innkeeper in a small Vermont town filled with weird locals. The show became infamous not only for its smart writing and character-based humor, but also for its amazing and widely loved series finale, which is often said to be one of the most famous endings in television history. Audiences were amazed by Newhart's ability to surprise, delight, and leave a lasting impression. This was proof of a performer who had made his skills perfect over decades of work. Just like its earlier show, The Bob Newhart Show, which had already made Bob Newhart a household name and a unique eloquent comedic voice, Newhart was a huge success when it started. The series showed Newhart's signature straight-faced delivery, subtle timing, and ability to find humor from everyday situations. This time set in a small Vermont inn. Critics praised the show for its smart writing, well-developed characters, and Newhart's natural charm, while audiences quickly loved the quirky group of characters, including 9 weird locals, each with their own strange quirks that created endless funny situations. The show was so well-liked that it got multiple Emmy nominations over its 8-season run. This proved both the quality of writing and Newhart's skillful performance. By the time Newhart ended in 1990, it had made a remarkable 182 episodes, leaving a lasting impact in the world of American television comedy and making Newhart's reputation as one of the most loved comedic actors of his time. The series finale itself, famously known for its unexpected twist ending, is still said to be one of the greatest conclusions in television history, showing Newhart's talent for mixing humor with cleverness. 2 years later, in 1992, Bob Newhart came back to television with yet another big project, a sitcom simply called Bob. In this series, he played the role of a cartoonist, a character that let him explore a more playful and creative side while still keeping his trademark subtle humor. Although the show got a generally good response from television critics who liked Newhart's comedic timing and the smart premise, it had trouble getting a big audience. The series faced tough competition in the ratings and, despite its good points, failed to connect widely with viewers. In the end, this led to the show's cancellation shortly after its 2nd season, marking a retirement in Newhart's otherwise always successful television career. Even so, Bob showed Newhart's willingness to try different formats and his dedication to taking roles that led him to explore new comedic areas. Throughout the 1990s and 2010s, Bob Newhart continued to stay active in the entertainment world through his comedy albums, making his reputation even stronger as a master of stand-up comedy. During this time, he made notable albums, including Off the Record, The Button-Down Concert, and Something Like This. These works had his gift for observational humor and storytelling, with Newhart's calm, understated delivery turning everyday scenarios into hilarious twists on human behavior. Even decades into his career, Newhart's ability to connect with audiences through subtle wit and timing stayed unmatched, and these albums let fans enjoy his humor in a recorded format, capturing the essence of his live performances. Starting in 2001, Newhart had a comeback on television, making many appearances across a wide variety of shows. He brought his talents to popular series such as Mad TV, showing his versatility by doing sketch comedy and disparate housewives, where his presence added a touch of classic comedic seriousness. Also, he became connected with television movie series. The Librarian, appearing in Quest for the Spear, Return to King Solomon's Mines, and Curse of the Judas Chalice, each time bringing his signature charm and wit to his roles. His appearances in crime dramas such as Ensis and guest spots on sitcoms like Committed showed his lasting appeal across different genres, proving that his brand of humor could still connect with modern audiences while keeping timeless qualities that had made him famous decades earlier. In 2013, Newhart joined the cast of the hugely popular American sitcom The Big Bang Theory, playing the beloved character Jeff or Professor Purton. His role on the show was met with widespread praise as Newhart perfectly showed the nostalgic charm of a former children's science television host, mixing warmth, humor, and a touch of sadness. He stayed a returning presence on the show until 2018, contributing to some of the series' most memorable and touching moments. His portrayal earned both critical praise and a renewed connection with a younger generation of viewers who may not have been familiar with his earlier work, proving the lasting relevance of his comedic talent. After The Big Bang Theory, Newhart continued to make television appearances, delighting audiences with guest spots on The Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson, where his dry humor and conversational style shone in a talk show setting. He also appeared in sitcoms such as Hot in Cleveland and Return to the World of the Librarians, showing his ongoing enthusiasm for acting and his ability to easily adapt to both comedic and light dramatic roles. In 2017, he played again his iconic role as Arthur Jeff or Professor Purton in the coming-of-age sitcom Young Sheldon, further extending the legacy of one of his most beloved actors and delighting fans with his familiar, understated wit that had captivated audiences for more than half a century. On January 12, 1963, Bob Newhart, the legendary comedian and actor known for his understated humor and deadpan delivery, married Virginia Lillian Ginny Quinn, who was born on December 9, 1940, and passed away on April 23, 2003. Ginny Quinn came from a family with strong ties to the entertainment industry. She was the daughter of character actor Bill Quinn, whose work in movies and television gave her early exposure to the performing arts. The couple's meeting was helped by none other than the famous comedian Buddy Hackett, who saw the potential compatibility between the quick-witted Newhart and the charming, supportive Ginny. Their marriage was not only a personal union, but also a blending of two worlds connected to comedy and performance, creating a foundation for a stable family life in the often crazy and unpredictable environment of show business. Together, Bob and Jenny built a family based on love, stability, and shared values. They had 4 children over a span of 14 years. Robert, born in 1963, who came into the world just as Newhart's career was beginning to gain national attention. Timothy, born in 1967, who grew up during the height of Newhart's television success in the 1970s. Jennifer, born in 1971, whose growing UPRs were shaped by her father's rising fame and the family's commitment to keeping a normal home life. And Courtney, born in 1977, who entered the family as Bob was already firmly established as a television and comedicon. Over the years, the Newharts expanded their family to include 10 grandchildren, further extending their legacy and the tight-knit family bonds that Bob and Ginny had built over decades. Faith played an important role in their lives. Both Bob and Jenny were practicing Catholics, and they consciously chose to raise their children in that same faith, teaching them the values, traditions, and spiritual grounding that had shaped their own upbringing. Despite the demands of Newhart's career, which included extensive featuring, television appearances, and movie work, the couple put their family life first, creating a caring environment where their children could grow up with both a sense of normalcy and an awareness of the world of entertainment that surrounded them. Their marriage, lasting for 6 decades and Jen's passing in 2023, stood as a testament to their mutual devotion, resilience, and the enduring strength of family in the life of one of America's most beloved comedians. Bob Newhart, the legendary comedian known for his dry wit, perfect timing, and ability to turn even a pause into a laugh, had a surprisingly strong and openly negative opinion about his Good Times co-star Jimmy Walker. While Newhart was widely admired for his calm, understated approach to comedy and his preference for subtlety over showiness, Walker's over-the-top style and constant demand for attention reportedly clashed with a everything Newhart valued in a performer. "I couldn't stand him," Newhart once admitted bluntly in an interview, emphasizing that his feelings went far beyond simple professional erection. He didn't just dislike working with Walker. According to him, Walker represented everything he found annoying about modern show business: ego-driven, flashy, and unwilling to respect the craft of comedy as a disciplined art form. Newhart's frustration reportedly came not only from Walker's comedic style, but also from his behavior behind the scenes, where Newhart was methodical, calm, and dedicated to collaborative epos. Walker was often loud, demanding, and self-promoting. It was like he thought the show revolved around him, Newhart commented, revealing the personal irritation that grew over time. For a comedian like Newhart, who believed in timing, subtlety, and building jokes that relied on interaction and nuance, Walker's constant attempts to steal the spotlight created tension on set and drained the energy from scenes that required careful pacing. Moreover, Newhart was reportedly disturbed by Walker's approach to fame and celebrity. He saw Walker as someone who pursued the spotlight at any cost, often overshadowing the ensemble cast and undermining the collective work of the show. "I always felt like he was trying to turn Good Times into the Jimmy Walker Show," Newhart said, his words dripping with exasperation. For Newhart, who valued respect, patience, and the quieter craft of performance, Walker's behavior wasn't just irritating. It was a fundamentality of what it meant to be part of a team. The intensity of Newhart's dislike was also amplified by Walker's off-screen persona, which Newhart felt was just as performative and self-serving as his on-screen antics. He observed how Walker's flamboyant personality seemed to seek validation constantly, a stark contrast to Newhart's low-key professionalism and focus on comedy as an art form rather than a vehicle for ego. "I've never met anyone so obsessed with being liked and noticed all the time," Newhart remarked. This combination of on-screen ostentation and off-screen self-absorption, in Newhart's view, made Walker a uniquely difficult colleague, one whom he could scarcely tolerate. In the end, Bob Newhart's feelings toward Jimmy Walker weren't merely casual annoyance. They were a deeply felt antipathy that colored his memories of working on the show. Newhart's statements about Walker were candid, unmistakable, and repeated in multiple interviews over the years, signaling that this wasn't a passing frustration, but a profound personal distaste. "I can honestly say I've never disliked a co-star more," Newhart once concluded, leaving no ambiguity about the intensity of his feelings. For a man who built a career on humor, patience, and composure, his animosity toward Walker stood out as a rare moment of unfiltered emotion in his otherwise measured life and career. In 1985, Bob Newhart had a serious health scare when he was put in the hospital for secondary polycythemia, a rare blood disorder characterized by an abnormal increase in red blood cells. This condition was closely linked to his decades-long habit of heavy smoking, which he had never been able to fully stop despite his awareness of the associated health risks. During his hospitalization, Newhart underwent careful medical monitoring and treatment over the course of several weeks, a period that forced him to slow down and reflect on the toll his lifestyle had taken on his health. Following his recovery, he made the conscious decision to quit smoking, recognizing it as a necessary step to preserve his well-being and ensure he could continue performing and living a fulfilling life. This turning point in his personal life marked the beginning of a healthier chapter, demonstrating his resilience and willingness to make significant changes even after many years of established habits. Bob Newhart ultimately passed away from complications stemming from several short illnesses at his home in Los Angeles on July 18, 2024 at the remarkable age of 94, leaving behind a career that had spanned more than 6 decades. His death marked the end of an era in American comedy, as Newhart was widely regarded not only for his deadpan delivery and unique comedic timing, but also for his humility, kindness, and enduring influence on generations of comedians and entertainers. Upon Hearing of his passing, President Joe Biden released a formal statement paying tribute to Newhart's extraordinary contributions to entertainment and American culture. In his statement, the president said, "Today, we mourn the loss of Bob Newhart, a comedy legend and beloved performer who kept Americans laughing for decades. This official acknowledgement from the highest office in the country underscored the deep cultural impact Newhart had achieved over his long career, reflecting the universal admiration for his talent and the genuine affection felt by audiences nationwide, beyond the accolades and public recognition." His death prompted a wave of tributes from fans, fellow performers, and comedy historians alike, all of whom celebrated his unique ability to craft humor that was intelligent, subtle, and timeless.